is the moment when you broke down at the World Cup, when you always stayed away from the celebrations, the players were the main focus. B, there is a moment when you are in front of the microphone that you break it down when you remember your family and you say, I don't know if my father is aware of what is happening. Has your father found out yet? Yes, I think he has. I was talking about that moment when I hoped he would be watching me because it was a unique moment. Because besides he had a stroke, and of course, he only moved one part of his body. And with the only hand, he moved before the cup. He made it lift the cup like this. I mean, he was like, I steady, convinced that it was. So I will.
Before we go back and look at Scaloni's journey, let's just sit with that picture for a second. Before the last World Cup started, his father had a stroke and he could only use half or some parts of his body. And with the one hand that still worked, he used it to lift the trophy in the air, miming that trophy, certain that his son would get there. Everything about Lionel Scaloni points back to the family, to his family that believed in the value of genuine work, that believed in the value of always striving, and most importantly, believed in him. And in this video, we're going to find out more about how he got to now being the coach for the second time when Argentina is now in the World Cup final.
Be there for him in whatever he needs, and make him understand you never give up. My old man started out driving a truck, and he said, I'll buy 25% of it off Mito Correa. He bought it. Then I'll buy the other half, then the whole truck. He always wanted more, always more. A worker
Slow
to the
down.
core.
Your dad bought from Mito Correa.
So Pujato is a small farm town where he's from, and his dad drove someone else's truck before he actually owned his own. And what he's describing here is that the way that he bought that truck that he ultimately ended up owning was he bought a quarter of it, so he would pay on installments, and then he bought the next quarter, and then he could pay off that first half, and then he bought the whole thing, and yet he kept wanting more. Scaloni says that the one thing he passed down, that his dad passed down to him, was to never stop striving, to never settle, and to always be striving. And you can see that in the story of his dad, and you will see, obviously, you'll see that in the story of Scaloni as well.
He was always a positive guy. Whenever you told him something after a game, like, Dad, Sunday we play so-and-so, he'd say, don't be afraid. It's nothing. Push forward. He'd come to the games. Always the same. Push forward. Push forward. That push forward summed up so much. So what if you lose? The next day you get up and it's
Sure, a culture you grew up in.
So you can hear his whole temperament in these few words from his dad, right? Where he's saying, go forward. What's the worst that can happen? What happens if you lose? You wake up the next day and the world is still there and you keep charging forward. So don't be scared. Keep moving forward. And Scaloni says that he's inherited this spirit and this philosophy from his parents. And obviously, when you see the team plays, I think it reflects in the way that it's that the Argentinian team comes together and really goes after their goals fearlessly.
Yes. Not only in 2014, years before that. I had a serious injury in 2005, before the World Cup in Germany, as a player. I tore my hamstring pretty badly, and my career started heading another way, and I began thinking about becoming a coach, though I already had it in my head.
Yeah.
So what he's saying there is that he had always liked the idea of coaching, and once he had a bad injury back in 2005, turned his head towards management and ultimately signed up for his first managing gig in 2011. And at the time, there were still many years left in his own career. But by the end, he was kind of sitting in a dressing room, studying the game like a manager, thinking like a manager, planning like a manager, but he still happened to be on the player sheet. So he was still doing that while he was still very much playing.
We believe there's a beautiful future ahead, so I saw there was something to build here. From there, the chance came to stay on with the national team. If they'd told me from the start I'd be staying as the coach, it would surely have been different. But since I never went looking for it, there's nothing here. Nothing. Let's not go looking where there's nothing.
What he's saying there is, he, uh, the way that he first got his first coaching gig, which was for the national team youth tournament in 2018, it kind of happened almost by accident. You can see that he wasn't kind of chasing that job, but once he had that job, he wouldn't let go of it. And again, it keeps coming back to this idea that once he actually got the opportunity, he wanted to go all out, wanted to strive to be the best in doing that job, and ultimately, obviously, that led to him climbing the ranks to ultimately lead the national team.
I support Lionel Scaloni. You're the coach of the Argentine national team. The question is, how do you feel when many people don't treat you well, or when they ask you all the time if you see continuity, if you feel like you're trying out, and so on and so forth? In other words, you feel in front of the media like you're not finished being the coach of the national team. That's something that I would even say is normal. Where I come from, I'm just starting out, I could tell you that it's normal, and I accept it. What I wouldn't accept is disrespect, and that's why I wouldn't sit down and chat with some people, but I would accept criticism. What's the problem? I don't have normal experience, that's the truth. I can't go against someone who says I don't have experience, because that's the reality. And
Again, having the humility to say, and this is actually from before the last World Cup. This is from 7 years ago. So being in that situation where people are questioning you, or people are questioning if you have the confidence or the caliber to see the team through, and he's saying, look, I'm a frank person. Like, I can understand that I don't have as much experience as others in the game, but what I won't tolerate is disrespect. And what I can say is that I'll be striving and continuing to improve as in the position that I am given.
I'm not going to teach them how to play soccer. It's impossible for me to tell them, let's do this play.
So here's what he's saying is, I'm not going to be able to teach the best players on the planet. And he understands that a lot of these players have been playing great football, have had innate talent from the time they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. There's actually videos of Messi playing at that age. And what he can do, he's not going to teach them football. What he can do is instead figure out how to harness their collective energy, bring them together as a unit, figure out how to get them comfortable. And so then he just has to kind of shape that team and then ultimately hand the game off to them to be able to do what they're best at, which is finding the plays and scoring goals and defending.
The World Cup. What can I tell you? It's not enough to play well, to be a protagonist, to be a big team. After that, a whole lot of factors have to fall your way for the road to open up. Of the last national teams that won, I think we had the most stones in our path. We lost the first match. They equalized on us in the final minute against Holland. We won on penalties. Against France, we won.
So here he's describing the road that Argentina had through the last World Cup. And of course, there's a lot of, let's say, chatter around how Argentina has had a really easy group and an easy path this time around to their road to the final. But what he's saying here is that the last time around, they had a very rocky road. They lost their opening game. They were pegged back in the last minute against the Netherlands that they went to penalties. The final went to penalties. And so what the coach here is saying is that, this coach that everybody was saying wasn't ready, who no one really was taking seriously, their team ended up taking one of the hardest paths to a final and to ultimate victory in the last cup. And so I think on balance, if they've had a relatively easy path this time around, it's hard to kind of judge that, given the fact that they've had a pretty tough road in the past where they had to prove their mettle at every step.
Sometimes it overwhelms me. My parents, my wife, my kids.
How now with some distance, how do you feel you handled that?
Well, it came out naturally because I had to say it. I'd had an ugly year. Ugly, ugly. That's when you understand it. I wasn't enjoying it. 6 brutal qualifiers had gone by. Brutal. And I, speaking personally, I wasn't well. I'd been through hard moments. A whole lot of things pile into your head. I needed this too, what I told them. To talk it through with the players, with my family, with the directors, to say what I was feeling, to take some time. Especially because it was November and there was no match until March.
This is personal, how you were doing.
Yes, totally. And the staff understood it that way. You could see I wasn't at 100%, and I felt it, and I had to say it. Why? Because maybe months later I wouldn't be fit to carry on. It's a place where we are, where I am, that needs you at 100% because they require it. The players require it. Because the national team requires it. And because big things were coming.
Porque ellos lo requieren, los jugadores lo requieren, porque la selección lo requiere y porque se venían cosas.
And so what he's talking about here is that this is the year that followed winning that last World Cup, where he was going through a terrible time personally, had lots of personal issues, stopped enjoying the work, and straight out told his family and told the players that he wasn't able to give his 100%. And so at that time, he talked to the team and ended up taking a break. If he hadn't taken that break, things might have turned out differently, and he might not have even been in a position to return if he had kind of kept pushing himself to the point of a burnout. So this is a pretty incredible thing, right? Like, despite having won the World Cup, I feel like the aftermath of that was bittersweet for him. And we're going to come back to that point eventually, but I also want to play this next point here.
What does it mean to close on this? Pujato and your parents in your life. Are there still moments where you think, man, what will my parents say about what I do, about what I say?
Yes. At times I get emotional, and I won't get emotional now because I already got very emotional talking about them. But it's the one great thorn I carry from when we won all this. It's that I don't know if they grasp the magnitude of what we achieved because of the state they're in, because it's not the way you'd want. And that's what tormented me all that year after winning the World Cup. I say to myself, they'd be the happiest people in the world. My old man is someone who lived by us and for us, for my brother, for me, for everyone. Everything he did in his life was so we could become footballers. He backed us in everything. My mother the same. She followed my dad everywhere, the way my wife follows me now. So that's part of what tormented me, and it will always follow me, knowing whether they've enjoyed what we achieved. Because for me, that would be the greatest gift life has ever given me.
And there's the greatest strategy in this triumph is, despite winning the cup, he doesn't really know if his parents were able to fully understand it, to fully enjoy it, to fully appreciate it. And given the sheer sacrifice and work that took them to get him and his brother to this point, that would be his greatest gift, if he could see that they truly understood what happened. And I mean, that's of course very tragic.
Well, I think the important thing is that if what you say about the World Cup already being won is true, it's important that he comes and enjoys it. If he ends up deciding that he enjoys being, a World Cup that is theoretically his last. I never dare say anything, but enjoy it. Enjoy it. There's no other word for it. I'm going to get tired of saying it because the truth is that when you stop playing all those things that you don't have anymore, this one, and especially a World Cup, I only played in one and I still remember it. Imagine. Those are unforgettable moments. So have to say is to enjoy it, to be with your teammates.
So this is in response to a question where he's asked what he wants for Messi from the last World Cup that he's going to play, or the final. And he says, look, enjoy it. right there is you see where that wistfulness comes back, where he's reminiscing about the time that he used to be a player, and he talks about how he played only one World Cup, but he still remembers those moments. And again, harkening back to, let's say, when he had the best moments of his career, to, let's say, even when his parents were healthier, and thinking about those moments, and just really stressing that the most important thing for Messi is to enjoy this experience. So he's not saying I'm gonna push him to get the cup, reach for the trophy. He's just saying that his wish is for Messi to fully enjoy this experience. So that's Lionel Scaloni. A farm town is where he grew up. His dad bought a truck, a quarter installment at a time. He landed on a job that he never really went looking for directly. He was doubted and questioned and even condescended to and disrespected for years. And the last time around, his team went through one of the hardest and unlikeliest paths to end up becoming world champions. On Sunday, this weekend, a whole country is going to be behind him and his men as they try to go and get the World Cup one more time as defending champions. There's a moment from Messi's interview after the game with England where Messi says, at some point, it felt like they didn't even really want it anymore. He was talking about how the English players ran out of steam. They didn't really seem to care about getting to the ball, about defending it truly, or about scoring back. And when you look at the Argentinian team and you look at this coach and his story and his motivations, and I'm sure when you look at Messi's own motivations and Messi's own story, I think it becomes clearer where that spirit to never give up, to be relentless up to the last second of the game comes from. When you look at how they celebrate, when you look at their emotions, and some people like it or not, but when you look at their win at all costs attitude, it becomes very, very clear again that they have this fire and this drive and this ambition and this striving backed by real hard work and talent that ultimately makes them work as a unit, ultimately makes them achieve at the highest levels of the game. And honestly, that's what makes the game interesting for the competition even, and for viewers. We built a product called SKIM that helps you get through long YouTube interviews, podcasts, documentaries, basically any content that you can find online. And you can save a lot of time by going through it in minutes instead of hours. If you'd like to try that out, please go ahead and check it out. And then also please share any feedback with us on how we can improve it.